You might have heard people saying that don't tell everyone everything about your plans. I remember when I was a little girl, my mother would always say to us, be quiet, don't tell everyone that we're going away on holiday. No, don't tell everyone what our plans are. You don't have to disclose this, that, and the other. Now, me being me at that time, I thought it was quite facetious not to tell, and I thought that it was disingenuous not to share who we really are and what not to share everything and anything about our lives. And so I couldn't really understand why it was that we couldn't share. Except as you go through a Kundalini awakening, the one thing that you're going to crave a lot of, and the one thing that you're going to find very difficult for a while, is to talk. I remember going through a phase during my own processes when it almost felt that somebody somewhere had imposed a mom vrat, which means you are fasting from talking, you're only silent. It was very, very difficult to take out sound from my mouth. Not only the sound wasn't coming out, but the thought that is preceding sound or something that starts to stir in the mind simply wasn't happening. Now, there are 4 main parts or stages through which sound that is audible comes to be. We have spoken about this before in other posts. It is para, pashyanti, madhyam, and vaikhari. Vaikhari is vaikyam, vakam, which is what you're going to talk. It's the sound that will then finally come out. Now, between our life's sojourn and all of the lovely experiences or not so lovely experiences that we accumulate, there will be a big gap between para, so the sound that is just taken its first step into then becoming that which comes out, and at that step, that will be the purest form of the sound. By the time it comes out, when we have gone through lifetimes of conditioned existence, chances are what it is at the level of para and what it is at the level of vaikyam when it does come out will be very, very different. So it's a bit like being lost in translation, which is why we say one of the tenets of an awakening, spiritual Kundalini awakening, or awakening, coming into your own self, self-realization, liberation, enlightenment, whatever word or semantics you choose to adopt, is clarity. You're clear. There is no mystery. Everything is as it is. There is no belief, because you don't have to believe, because you only believe in what you don't know. So we say, I believe or I feel. When the gap between that shortens, so what is at para will then come out at vakyam. But back to the story at the beginning of this post, when we experience that heaviness or the density of human experience, the one that makes us scared to want to have more human experiences, the one that wants us to shy away from being vulnerable, and therefore getting lost in translation between para and vaikyam, that heaviness, when it doesn't get out of the system and we tend to then keep it in, it creates a barrier so that you will never ever be acting out of your truth, but in whatever is in that pipe, which is all stuck. It's the gunk that is all there. Now, that is the one that's going to become a hindrance. And whatever stays that is unexpressed at the para level starts to expand. And as that starts to expand, your personality, the way you project yourself, the way you experience your life is then born of that which you have become a container of. It becomes you. You become it. So, conversely, when you are experiencing the opposite of fear, so you're experiencing love, you're experiencing things that want to make you live, thrive. Yeah, what do? We don't keep it in, we spend it out. We share our plans. We talk about what we're going to do. We post on social media how well we are doing and what we're doing and what our plans are, how much money we're making, how happy we are, what a wedding we're going to have, and all sorts of things about our children, what they are doing. And it's only been quite recently that people have now started sharing that heaviness, and you talk about it. But now we're getting to a point where we are now over talking about it, so that it's actually almost become a fashion statement to remain in that density and then share it with everybody. But that's not the topic for this particular post. So when you are giving out that, so you're no longer going to be able to contain it, you are then instead spending that which would be your investment to grow more energy, because that is what makes you want to grow. Yeah, when we take it out, this is when we chant out of our mouth. Now let us come to our sadhana or our spiritual practices, or any one of you who will be aware of mantra chanting. The highest form of chanting a mantra is chanting it in silence. It is not chanting it aloud. And automatically when you are chanting a mantra, so it'll start any mantra. Let's take a mantra that is known to so many of you, Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah. You start by Om Namah Shivaya, the way you want to chant it. And as you advance in your awakening and your awakening of the mantra that you're chanting, so that you empower it or it empowers you, we say Siddh, mantra Siddhi, then you will no longer, you will see that the tone of your voice, the sound goes inward. It starts to go inward. And this is where magic starts to happen. The alchemy or the changes that this mantra is bringing to you start to get, you start to feel, you start to get that energy building up inside of you, you start to experience this. And this is where we say the mantra has the ability to do so much healing, and you feel, you know, this beautiful expansion inside of you, because what you've now done is you've gone back to the source of the sound, which is what we call the Bij mantras. That's why we say the seed syllable is a lot more powerful than that which we chant in full, the full form of something. So what we want to always try to do is to get to the seed of it. Now, as you talk about your anxieties or your fears, when you bring it out, you take it out. So it then doesn't have the ability to stay in you and then grow and grow and grow. Your plans or what you're going to do, you keep it in. Your visions, your affirmations, your manifestations, your mantras, your sadhana, your magic, your synchronicities, your beautiful experience, you keep it in. And it expands. Now another parallel is this. As you advance in your access to wisdom, so that you are now downloading it, one thing you will notice, either you'll suddenly feel the urge to talk about something, or you will suddenly go silent, and it is only when you're prompted that you'll be able to speak about something, and quite often it requires no thought, no planning, no mind. It'll simply be what just comes out naturally. So there will have been a harvesting of that before it comes out. So you must have heard that saying, think before you talk, or think before you leap. It's a bit like that, except you're not thinking, but there is a gestation that takes place before it comes. So if you're a teacher like myself, or if you are a healer, or you wait for that moment of creative genius to come in. So that's when you feel the spark. That's when you feel the inspiration to say something. But it won't be. So you'll realize, if you're going to say something too prematurely, it's going to come out completely different. If you say something when it has been cooking inside, it's going to come out completely different. But generally, when you are doing something that is inward, that is for yourself, or that is a plan, you don't talk about it. So in a way, my mother was right, that we don't talk about those things. And you will have found that the more you were talking about these beautiful plans and all your happy moments and everything, you then become a subject of psychic attack, jealousy, so many different other things start to come and happen to you. But because you innocently believe in this, or rather not even believe, but you're just sharing in the joy, as you would share in your fears. So you're like a child, you're living in that way where everything is being expelled. Then you will be like a hollow tube anyway. So there will be very little chance of you building up the gunk. So while you are also sharing the joy, you also share the sorrows, and you sort of work through them as opposed to keeping them inside of you. Keep them inside of you, the trauma builds up. Sending you so much love.